Thank you. Thank you very much for guiding always. My mentors are here. So I am feeling really confident in front of them. They have all Dr. Grover, Dr. Harbans, both have been very good guides to me, myself, and Dr. Piyush. And I'm thankful for always helping me and going and achieving greater heights as they have achieved the greatest heights. And we hope that we can follow their footsteps till the end. So I'm starting my presentation. My presentation is beyond cataract. If something happens, if we are unable to, we are not able to do anything, if there is a problem, if that, like Dr. Harbansal was telling us very beautifully, what to do in certain difficult situations, I am going beyond those situations. If really something happens, if there is a PC rent, then what to do? So my next slide is, what are the risk factors for the PCR? PC rent can happen, although it is a rare complication nowadays, especially with expert surgeons, it is the rarest of the complications, but still we have to be very careful and be very confident in our mind what type of cases are we dealing. There should be a, like for every case we are doing, we should understand what problems we may face from the case. We have to see that whether there is a poor visualization. If the case, like these days we have 2 or 3 microscopes when we operate, if there is a poor visualization, I would never like to operate in a microscope which is of a lower grade. I will always go for the best microscope. If there is a posterior polar cataract, if there is a trauma in the eye, I would always, although I'm doing mainly topical anesthesia, I would always like to do a block in the patient. A local anesthesia will work wonders and will help you prevent so many complications. Same with a small pupil. Be prepared if there is a small pupil. Be prepared with your hooks or your rings. That these things really, really do come in handy. I learned this about 10 years back. I was operating a case in my clinic, and I didn't, and this is a real story. I didn't have, that was a very small pupil, one-eyed patient, and I went ahead. He was a diabetic. I had already done a PDR. This is sharing an experience. And unfortunately, when I started the surgery, the small pupil became smaller. I was in a fix, one-eyed patient, and nodules were weak. What I did, and Dr. Grover would be surprised to listen, Dr. Harbanslal clinic is near to my clinic. Thought of nothing else. I thought, sir, I phoned him directly, sir, do you have a hooks with you in the clinic? He said, yes, Neeraj, you can come. I immediately sent my boy there. I waited for the patient, was very patient. Luckily, he was on the table. I sent my boy for the hooks, and he brought the hooks, and I was able to finish that surgery successfully. So these are some of the things that we should be prepared. If the case is difficult, we should be prepared for the ideal things. Then what happens if there is a small capsular excess? These are the predisposing factors. Extended capsular excess, uncontrolled hydrodissection. These are the factors which predispose. So we have to be very careful with our surgical steps. Surge in the faulty machine, running after small pieces. These are things that improper IOL insertion, these can always lead to problematic factors. What is sign of impending catastrophe? Like preoperatively, we can identify that these are the cases that can have problems. Even during surgery, we can have certain indications, sudden deepening of anterior chamber. You have to wait, patiently stop the surgery, inability to rotate the nucleus. Again, be patient, try to analyze what is wrong, and then go ahead. Dipping of one pull-off. These are all impending signs that something wrong has happened. Alteration in the reflex in the periphery. So these are some signs you must be very, very careful about. Then coming to the next, what an anterior segment surgeon can do. If the PCT can take place, it can take place at any stage, like I told, it can happen with any surgeon, but we don't have to panic. Please don't panic if something happens. Be very, very careful. Be very, very gentle and polite. Don't panic. That is the first thing to do. We had done a study in the Gangaram hospital where we were not recording the patient, but we had put a pulse oximeter on the surgeon to record his parameters. And we found that most of the surgeons, in case of catastrophe, always their pulse and BP used to raise. So this was a small study that we did, although it was not published, but it is a very interesting study. That something wrong happens, the surgeon gets really panicky and his heartbeat certainly raises. So we should try to do some meditation and yoga daily in our life. That will help. So this is just out of the blue, but again, PCT does not always mean vitreous loss. How to avoid vitreous loss? We can maintain the anterior chamber by using viscoelastic liberally. Use of viscoat. Viscoat should always be available with us. Dry aspiration in case of little bit of, if we find that there is little bit cortex left, and in case of a nodular dialysis, use an endocapsular ring. Like Dr. Harbans also said that these things, armamentarium should be with you. And how do we avoid vitreous loss? Dry aspiration is the key to that. Have sufficient viscoelastic, do a dry aspiration, avoid section on the bare area and no pressure on the section. I can show a small video here, you can see. So this is a grade 3 cataract. You can see pupil is moderate in size. So we are already prepared that something might happen. We are going ahead with the hydrodissection, slightly brown cataract, moderate size pupil. So you can see the surgery is going on. And we are doing the phaco now. So the last pieces are coming out. You can see the epinucleus is left. And there was one mistake which I will tell what happened. We are doing the epinucleus removal, but not on the epinucleus mode. And see what happens. Voila, there is a PC rent. And now what to do? Don't worry, vitreous has not come out. Inject good amount of viscoelastic and you can do a dry aspiration. So this was one message. So you can see, you could see this beautifully in the video. So no phaco aspiration. Immediately you should not remove the phaco tip. As soon as the rent happens, be calm and patient. Try to inject viscoelastic into the chamber from the other port and then only withdraw the phaco probe. Dry vitrectomy and visco-assisted vitrectomy is the key to all. The common mistake we make is withdraw the phaco probe immediately, which should never be done. Never let the chamber collapse. As soon as we see a rent, we get so scared that we just withdraw the phaco probe outside, which should not be done. The pressure in the chamber should be maintained either with the fluid or with the other hand, we can start injecting viscoelastic and then come out slowly. We should condemn the anterior vitrectomy with a wick. These days, all machines, phaco machines have a vitrectomy with them. So we must be always prepared with the automated cutter also. This is another thing that we fail to do. Many of the clinics, so many surgeries, hundreds of surgeries have gone off well. Suddenly we have a rent one day and we want a vitrectomy cutter and we say, oh no, there is no cutter available. Nobody has even, it is like an emergency tray. It is like an emergency equipment for us. Automated vitrectomy cutter also must be available in the armamentarium. Manual vitrectomy should be condemned. If we tug on the vitreous, it can lead to a peripheral tear or cystoid macular edema. So please don't try to pull the vitreous. Always cut and then aspirate. Where is the problem? Automated anterior vitrectomy, people are scared to do automated. It is in our head. It is a very simple procedure. Why cannot I do it? It is so easy to do an automated anterior vitrectomy. The basic principle of vitrectomy is cut before aspirating. First cut and then aspirate. No pulling, no hydration. Balance the fluid egress. Direction of the cutter should be anterior. These are some take-home points. And section and the anterior chamber should be vitreous-free at the end. And automated vitrectomy with new cutter. Again, a new cutter is available. That is the best. Please try not to reuse the cutters. So the cutting rate, direction of port should all be, you should know about all this. I will not go into the details. Cutting should be targeted. And if any piece is falling down, please don't fish for the sinking pieces. Bimanual irrigation and cutting is preferred. Although if you are an expert with the coaxial cutter also you can do with it, but we should prefer a bimanual. Free the corneal and scleral wound and then free the pupil. I'll show another small video how to do the anterior vitrectomy in case there is an end. There is a small PCR here and there was a small vitreous tug. So already the cortical clearing has been done. See the direction of the vitrectomy cutter. We are doing a bimanual vitrectomy. And you can see a small tug of the, you can see a small tug here of the vitreous, which we will ultimately cut with the cutter. And we are not trying to pull it out. Just cut and remain inside. Don't try to bring it out. That should be the message. So you can see we are doing a cutting. And at the end, there was some cortex left. And at the end, we are able to implant an IOL over the rexes also. So these are some old videos because these complications are not very common. And luckily, we could capture some of them. And thanks to the Sir Gangaram Hospital and the beautiful equipment they give us. And coming to the next slide, what are problems of anterior vitrectomy? I already mentioned cystoid macular edema, vitreous incarceration in wound if it is not done properly, vitreous adhesion leading to secondary retinal detachment and secondary membrane can form. So we must be very proficient in the vitrectomy. We have been organizing courses in the hospital also for the last 15 years where we teach a little bit about tips and tricks of anterior vitrectomy also. So your present imperfect handling of vitreous may make your future tense. So be very proficient in what you do. Keep on practicing like Dr. Harvansh was saying. And some ticklish problems I'll explain. Sometimes there will be nuclear pieces going into the vitreous. We should not run after the mirage. It is like you will be more tired and thirsty. Nuclear pieces and vitreous in the vitreous, how can I sit over it? Who is asking you to do that? We should act rationally. Basically, we should not run after them. If you are a qualified vitreous surgeon, like I am doing both cataract and I am a retina surgeon also, I can really go ahead. I will not go after the pieces, but I will close the wound, clear up the anterior vitreous, then go behind and then tackle the posterior vitreous. If these two conditions are not there, you don't have a vitreoretinal surgeon, again, don't panic. There is no statistical difference in the ultimate results if anterior vitrectomy is done carefully and you leave the pieces which are going down to a vitreoretinal surgeon. He can clear it later on, within 1 week, 10 days also, but you keep on monitoring the patients. You must do an anterior vitrectomy with cortical clearing. The vitreous should not be coming in the wound. And putting a PCIOL is your choice. If you feel comfortable, yes. If you don't, then the vitreoretinal surgeon can do it for you. But what you should not do is the most important. Try not to remove the nucleus and try not to put wire vectors into the vitreous, which we have a tendency to remove the dropping pieces. That is the most terrible thing that can be done. And at the end, it will lead to some problem like a detachment or macular edema, and then you are in for trouble. So do not use, this is the method, do not use phaco probe. It should be condemned in the strongest possible words. Don't fish for it. Close the wound, dry aspiration, preserve the anterior axis, do anterior vitrectomy, put in the IOL only if confident about removal of vitreous. And this is one video where I will show you. This is just half a minute more to go. This is half a minute. I am showing you this video again, a very old video. There is a rent, pieces are going down. You can see we are doing some vitrectomy. This is an anterior vitrectomy trying to remove a dry cortical removal. Viscoat has been put in and we are doing a dry aspiration. But you can see there is a nucleus piece here, big, huge chunk of nucleus. The whole nucleus is there. And now it is going down. See, it has disappearing now. It has gone down. So you wait here and you end the surgery and you can refer it to your posterior segment surgeon. If you are confident, you put an IOL. Otherwise, it can be done later. So same sitting. The problem is availability, non-availability of retinal surgeon. Deferred, you refer to the vitreoretinal colleague and you tell the truths to the patient as well as your vitreoretinal colleague. Telling the truths to the patient always works wonders. Otherwise, you can fall into medical legal problems also. So the message again is, do not fish for the nucleus. Thorough anterior vitrectomy, remove cortex with dry aspiration, IOL insertion only if confident of good anterior vitrectomy, and always refer to the vitreoretinal surgeon. We can do it any time after a couple of days. It will not matter much. Thank you very much. I hope I made my point clear. Thank you very much, everybody.
That was wonderfully covered, Dr. Neeraj. You covered all the aspects of anterior vitrectomy, and it was very nicely covered with the video demonstration. I think. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for letting me into this instruction course. I'm very